Heads up, stay alert. Stay alive. Heads up, eyes open, eyes open. Stay alert, stay alive. Heads up, heads up. Better look alive. Heads up, better look, heads up, better look alive. Truth coming fast, no place to hide. Raw, uncensored, we bring that heat. Real talk hitting over heavyweight beats. No filters, no fear, no backing down. We shake the walls when we come through town. Breaking the silence, exposing the game. Heads up, you remember the name from the underground, where the concrete bleeds, planting the seeds of defiant deeds. No fake news, no sugar-coated lies. Just pure adrenaline, watch the truth rise. We tear down the curtains, expose the fraud. Every word a weapon, a righteous sword. When the room gets loud, keep your head clear. Clock every move, keep your people near. If the story shifts, don't buy the spin. Turn that doubt away, let the real facts in. Stay alert, stay alive, stay far. Heads up, heads up, better look alive. Heads up,
Every citizen to be aware of how their government is running and take part, listen, and participate. There is no left, no right. There's only up. And down has been on for too long.
Okay, Mr. Granger, there are several people here. Y'all see, there are some people here. I am at the Madison County, Indiana Park Board meeting, not the city, the county. Madison County has a park board, and that's what I was showing you earlier when my speaker wasn't on the agenda. So the meeting hasn't started yet because I think they went to make sure it was being recorded live. You can go to Madison County, Indiana, and go to live meetings, and you can see the meeting there. Hopefully you can hear it from here. So that's what we're doing. I don't know what they're waiting on now.
They're starting the record and
They're doing well.
they're setting up the public record and the video.
Hmm.
They want to be transparent. Transparency.
Okay. Hi, Ben. How you doing? Yes, I'm doing wonderful. How are you? Okay. Ben said it's stressful today. So y'all stressing Ben out. Okay. I'm just trying to kill time until the meeting starts. Excuse me. You were at the other meeting. What's your name? I'm Carrie Ann Rich. Are you? Were you? Oh. Oh, okay. Now, were you up here the other day, or was that another lady? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well, nice to meet you. I've seen you. That was Miss Rich. She's helping with the marketing. What are you marketing now? They don't have nothing to market right now, do they? Oh. Oh, okay. What's the name of the website? Okay. All right, I have a lot I do with some of these meetings on Madison County, Indiana dot something. Social media person. Okay.
Yeah, send a message to people that are preparing for school.
Sure.
With school coming and public school starting and Anderson already and the neighboring schools soon. It's important to let everyone know that many times when we're studying a subject, think of it as playing a piano. You don't just jump on there and know how to play a song on the piano. It takes practice, and not practice once. It takes practice every day. When I was in graduate school, I would take problems and I would change the numbers, change the variables in the math equations, and do it over and over on my own until I got to a mastery where I felt like I could teach the course. So if you keep that in mind, determination, dedication, day in, day out, if you feel like you could teach the class, you will succeed.
Well, that was a good little message I don't even know how to forget.
Michael Gary.
Mike, Mr. Garinger, who was at all the meetings. So many names to remember, but I see him at all the meetings that I go to. But we were killing time because the meeting has not started yet. So it's getting ready to start. It's supposed to start at 12, but they had not set up for the recording, I guess. Well, what are we waiting on? He scheduled the meeting at noon. So for those of you that have jumped on here, this is the Madison County, not city, county Parks Board. The agenda is posted above the video. It's right here on my lap if you want to look at it again. Let me see. There's the agenda. The meeting has not started. You don't vote on this seat. Oh, okay. Catherine on here campaigning for you. She's telling what you're running for. Now, even though you have to run out of that district, everybody gets to vote for you. That's correct. Okay. Okay, I got you, Mike. Michael Granger. That was the young man speaking in the video a minute ago. He's sitting down here next to me. He's at all the meetings. Also, city and county. He's been going to. Oh, is it supposed to be storm? What is going on here?
It might rain soon.
You're what?
It might rain soon.
Oh, yes, we're up here and it's getting ready to start raining, everyone. Thank you, Catherine. She's thanking us for being up here.
Oh, thank you, Catherine. I appreciate all your positive support.
The positive work, Catherine. You hear that? Positive.
Everyone's positive.
Yes. Yes. Where you go? Hey. Lord have mercy. There's still people still coming in, trickling in. They're still getting it set up. I guess.
Okay, everybody. Sorry for that delay there, but I've been told we are recording, so we're good to get started. I'll call the meeting to order here at 12:09. Yeah, start with roll call. Just go from one end to the other, if that's all right. Kevin Smith. All right, thank you. Agenda we have here in front of us. Anything motion for approval there?
I move we approve the agenda as presented. Second.
All right, all those in favor of today's agenda say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Minutes. We have some minutes from our last month's meeting. Folks have had time to peruse those.
I don't see problem. Anybody else? I missed the last meeting. Yes, the kid missed the last.
Mm.
There's a typo here, what we can fix it.
Okay.
We're good. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
I misspelled Nancy's last name. Okay, second page. So we'll make that edit. We'll try that. I'm sorry, that's a motion to approve. Okay, I got a second for the minutes of last week's meeting.
He did, right here.
That's second.
Yeah.
All right. All those in favor of approving these minutes as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I abstained since I wasn't here.
Very good. Cool. Budget. So the county in its entirety is looking towards budgeting processes and getting all the departments in order. And we've been asked to present our first budget as a department. And so, yeah, we have a version here that we put together. It's got an addition, a number of elements, obviously, maintenance of the parks themselves that we're building, but also some contract labor with the intention of some type of director or executive to help us run the department, and then marketing materials, and then we have some aligned here for capital improvements for more additions, small improvements at the parks over the next year. So this is our first time preparing a budget, our first time doing the kind of budgeting process, but we feel pretty good about this. I don't know how much of a discussion we want to have. If anybody's had thoughts, feelings different than what is here in front of us. And obviously, all of this gets sent to the commissioners and the council are obviously both involved, but I don't know the whole order of operations, but obviously we are sort of submitting our ideals. We're making a recommendation that all of this gets discussed to a much finer point throughout the budgeting meetings. So,
We'll just, how was it decided, or who decided that we should consider the parks director? It's listed under contract labor, but it also specifies benefits, which I don't see how that drives. And the amount seems outrageous to me.
What is the amount?
It says here in your handout,
68 to 72 for,
yeah,
and then
it's just,
30% for benefits. If it's a higher position, if it's contracted, then
Yeah.
obviously it would be much more.
we've had some discussions within the county with the idea of, because we are only going to have, I'll say, a park and a half to the degree that IDNR continues to own the one in Perkinsville there. The idea that we'll need a full-time dedicated parks director feels a bit over the top. I don't think
it is over the top,
Right.
and I am against it.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody wants that, to the degree that going through the whole process of establishing a new employee position within the county for a part-time element feels more complicated than it's worth. So that's why the idea of just having contracted labor, because it could be temporary as we develop the project.
How does contract labor get entitled to benefits, 30%?
Well, I think these are just notes here of ideas. The number that we have is, we have $135,500 in the line for contracted labor, with the idea that that could go towards a parks director, towards a marketing person, perhaps. It could go to a few different people, to a few different entities in that way. To the degree that I don't think the intention is to hire a director for $135,000 a year.
No,
That's not the goal. The idea is simply that we need an amount of money to be able to hire those folks. This is also our first year. It might be true that we don't end up using all of that, and that's why the budget allocation we rebudget each year. But to the degree that we want to get professional folks involved, and we want the quality to be top notch, and we want to not go through the entire process of payroll and full hiring, I think those are sort of the reasons that we landed.
So they would just submit an invoice and you would just approve it and pay it.
I mean, yeah, I think that's generally the way that the
it would be
contract.
it would be
Yeah, you
an
can
agreed
contract.
upon contract.
So the invoice would be submitted pursuant to a contract approved by the board.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, there was something about only 2 people to approve
Yeah, we haven't got. to that.
Yeah,
We'll
that's
get-
further
we'll
down
get
on
to
the
that.
agenda,
Okay,
yeah,
all
just to
right.
focus on the budget right now. I think is the goal.
It's later.
I'm sorry, you don't agree with the budget?
No.
Okay. What changes would you like? Yeah, what are you interested in seeing? Or what has been left out?
There's a little fine print about all of these things, subject to circumstances at the time, they may or may not be approved or included, just depending.
I'm sorry, this is in the budget we're looking at here? The
Well, the
2027
notes, the
budget?
additional notes,
Oh, the chart that ends with the line total 318,000,
Yeah, that's
that's
it.
the end of the.
That's the end of the notes.
okay, it just says these decisions.
Yeah, but that's another,
That's for
that's
later.
another agenda item, but coming up later.
I might ask, do we know if Hamilton County or Henry County have park board?
I would assume Hamilton County Parks does, because they're an official, what was the other county?
Hamilton.
I'm not sure about.
I can
Hamilton
answer that for you
County
guys.
does have a director,
Yes,
but
they do.
the Hamilton County director oversees more than 1,000 acres.
For sure.
And for less money than what we have budgeted.
No. Here you guys go. Hamilton
Oh,
County.
I'm sorry. I think for the record, we need to be at the microphone. but
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Let me give you the stats, Ben.
What's the,
I have your numbers that you're asking. Grant County has no park board, they pay zero. Tipton has no park board, they pay zero. Delaware County has no park board, they pay zero. Henry County counted 43,689.29. They manage 362 acres.
Yeah.
Hamilton County, 123,007, 18,000 acres, 26 miles of parks.
Yeah.
Hancock, similar to Madison, they put in effect in 2024. They have about 40 acres, they pay $0.
Okay.
That's what's out there today. In the budget process, I don't know if we're allowed to, in the budget, it has to be approved by the county council. If you add a new person, they would have to say yes. They're not adding any new people, that's why you're contracting it out.
Right.
For 40 acres, guys.
Yeah.
You have people in this county who will do it for free for you.
and if we can arrange that, then
I
wonderful.
hope you guys look at that
We
to
did
save the
have,
money.
we did have a person doing it for free. And then.
Sliding.
The long and the short of it is, as we look forward and prepare a budget, we want to be prepared for whatever might come down the pipe here. This is our first year doing this, obviously, and so we're learning to the degree that having money in the budget for contracted labor feels very appropriate to me. Who that person is and how much they end up getting paid to manage, yes, only 40 acres. You're absolutely correct about that. We do not have, that's why I said it's only park and a half. We do not plan to give all of this amount of money to a person to manage the park that we have.
But here will be my pushback on that, Ben. You have 440,000 in your budget. You have zero for levy at this point. Your levy won't come in until 2030. It won't happen at that point. So you have a couple of years, you have no money coming in. So you have 400,000, 440 to be precise in that number. When you put a budget, that's what you're allowed to spend up to. That's a huge number. What you're saying is your park board director is going to make more than what I make. I didn't do this job. Let me finish here a second. I didn't do this job for the money. Far from it. I lose money doing this job.
Sure.
Let me what it is I did it to be a good steward and see if I can make a difference at this point. So with that being said, I just think if you put a number out there, you can go up to that number for 40 acres to have somebody manage, for most of these places being zero.
I hear what you're
Trying to
saying.
be frugal with the money. And if you pass where the board can pass, here's the number, the range we're gonna go into, nobody has to say at that point, that's a huge range. And then when you have mowing in there for $47,000, that's a huge number, you guys.
Well, that's just not mowing.
That's much more than
It's
just
much,
mowing.
Well,
much
I'm only
more.
reading what your proposal says here.
Well, the mowing specifically is
Proposal do you have?
anticipated 15,000. I'm not sure what you're looking at.
15,000,
Okay, that,
annual cost is
first of all,
47,500.
these were notes to
I'm
the,
sorry, you must be misreading something.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right here. The mowing is 15,000. You've got anticipated trash pickup, road entryway maintenance. There's a whole list of items that
Road
total
entry
up to
rates is
47,000.
4,000 more, that's additional.
I'm sorry.
No, these all total at 47,500. Yeah. And same for the other part. All
Thank you
of
for
those,
correcting that,
so I put it, all that is line item, I see that.
because I mow drains, and we bid everything out,
Yeah.
and then we take the S2, we present it to the drainage board at that point, and we pick the vendor at
That's
that
the,
point.
yeah, that's.
Yeah, we understand. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
I think the comments are thoughtful and well reasoned. With it being our first year, it is difficult to know exactly the process, and I don't know, and perhaps Jeff or Ken can help with this. I mean, we submit this and then it gets pared down more, I would assume, at the council meetings and later.
The county council deals mighty cleaver on the, nearly every budget gets submitted to them, out of necessity. That's not a criticism of the council.
Right.
And that's exactly what we anticipate with these dialogues, to the degree that we have to have a starting point to be able to have the discussion. This is what we have as a starting point. We understand that there is no tax levy currently. We understand that there are great opportunities. The opportunity for a levy to pass in the future is certainly possible. You know, so we anticipate this being a well-functioning, a well-contributing department within the county. And I think that we need a full budget to be able to do that. Obviously, are we going to get everything that we're looking at here? Probably not. But we need to have a starting place for this discussion.
That's what the commissioners asked.
And that's what the commissioners asked.
That's what the commissioners asked us. Was just,
Can I make an observation?
Sure.
I pointed out Henry County and Hamilton County on purpose. Anderson and Madison County has had a problem historically with looking down the road, planning for the future. I don't think there's anyone in this room that would disagree with the rankings of Hamilton County, some of their towns specifically being the most popular and fastest growing in the country. And there's a reason for that. They've had good long-range planning. I find it refreshing that we have county commissioners who would like to progress down the road rather than regression. Anderson and Madison County has had an opportunity many times to move forward and try to be part of Central Indiana's dynamic growth. When people who are against progress and want to draw attention to themselves can stand up and say, no, we don't like this, we want to go back, we want to stay the way things are. They're really playing to a national tone right now that's going on and destroyed this country for the most part, ripped it down the middle without talking about the future and what's good for our kids and our families. I'm a progressive because the opposite of that is regression, to regress. And I find it very disheartening that we even have county elected officials that would come up here and say, we want to remain in the Stone Age. We don't want to move. We don't want to be competitive with the rest of Central Indiana. I think this is probably the most positive thing we have going right now, and it's no tax money. This is all federal money that either we spend or we lose.
Well, on the project that we're working on, but to be
Yeah.
clear, we are looking at a budget
No,
for local tax.
and I
dollars.
understand.
All the way on that, yeah.
And that's long term to where Madison County can take one step towards what the counties surrounding us, including Henry County, are doing. And that's planning for.
So, regarding this
I
budget,
do not
is
recognize
everybody?
it.
Well,
Ben, could I
it's
make
not-
one quick question, because you didn't bring up my name?
No, he didn't. No, there was
Elected
no name set.
official.
Okay, we're really speaking about our budget here. We'd really like to focus on that and continue.
So you let him showboat up there. That's a good point.
in terms of our budget here, does anybody have any other comments, questions, concerns? Again, we're making a budget that we are going to be submitting to the commissioners for much more levels of approval, much more levels of.
It's a recommendation.
It's a recommendation, so. This budget process is obviously underway within the county, so we do need to move.
But that being said, we can make some adjustments to the contracted labor.
Oh, you can make,
Yeah.
you can do all the
So,
pencil amendments you'd
I
like.
mean,
here.
just hearing, the comments and stuff, we can make some amendments to that
Mhm.
line item, just to take out the benefits portion of it, so it's no confusion.
Well, just, I mean, in my mind, those benefits section, this is within the notes, the ideas about what a park director would even do. We obviously don't have that whole job description outlined, so to be able to assign a specific salary to it would be complicated.
Let's see, are you taking public comment right now?
Well, no, not in this moment. I
Okay.
mean,
It was, we were just gonna speak on part of the budget that we could help with, if that's
I
okay.
think it makes sense.
I'm open to that, sure,
Yeah.
certainly, yeah, about the budget, that'd be great.
My name is Krista Bosman, and I am the urban conservationist with Madison County Soil and Water Conservation District. I am also the new president for the county's new SISMA. So a SISMA is a cooperative invasive species management area. Our name is MIST, Madison County Invasive Species Team. So I am over a lovely group of volunteer individuals that are passionate about getting the invasives out of our green spaces for the county. We are pretty brand new, but we're already doing very good things.
Okay.
And I am offering this resource to this park board to be a part of something great that Madison County is doing. And I would very hope that you would utilize Madison County Soil and Water and MIST in any future plannings of this.
That's great. So, excuse my ignorance, Madison County Soil and Water, is that what you said?
Yes.
Is that a formal department within the county, or is it a nonprofit? Okay, okay. And then your house here in
There's
this building?
there's a interplay between the state and the county, but yes, they are.
We're not in this building.
We're not in this
We're
building.
in the service center, the USDA service center up by Mermaid Pools,
Oh,
For now.
okay.
for now.
So-
We're trying to change that, but.
Well, first of all, thank you.
Yeah.
And then can you just educate me on if there's things like within this budget that we wouldn't have to spend money on because of our ability to live on
Maintenance of the park.
maintenance, okay?
And that's a huge opportunity. Right now, my group is very dependent on mounds and Falls Park and Pendleton.
Okay,
Both of those places already have management plans in place, and they already know what they're doing. My group, it would be a great opportunity for my group to go to this park, a Madison County organization, go to a Madison County park and have learning opportunities. We could have a field day, we could have invite schools for programming.
excellent, thank you.
That sounds good. I think, I don't know if we need anything formal about it in this moment.
Sure.
Obviously, we'll stay in touch. How that can sort of slide into the budget, I think,
Well, I've seen the park, and I believe there's a certain amount of acreage there that could possibly be used for wildflower seeds. We could potentially donate
okay,
to you guys.
We would really love to have all native,
Pollinator
Madison County
habitat.
native
we can let
plants.
Jason
We'll
speak
let
to that a
Jason
little bit,
speak to that.
to the degree that that's already sort of been our plan, but if we can have more local coordination with it, that's even better.
Yep,
So,
absolutely.
that's awesome. I
So
appreciate you saying that.
please look to us as partners, because that's what we are.
We will.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I got an email from you. and
Yes, you
I'm
did.
sorry I haven't replied to it, but I want to know that I have your contact. So yes,
Okay.
that's great.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Hello, Michael Behringer. Thank you, board members, for hearing me and members of the public. I would like to talk primarily about, first, with a point of clarity and directed to Mr. Board President. I'm a little confused about an elected official. I believe it's appropriate for him to be on the agenda, then he would have an opportunity for rebuttal. Rather
I'm sorry,
than,
is this the budget? What were you talking
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the conduct. Well, it is your meeting conduct, so I'm making points of clarity. Point of clarity means I don't understand and you are too. Is that correct, Jeff?
Well, it is, but I don't think we're at that part of the agenda. I think we're on a specific agenda item.
Okay.
And I believe the chair wants to keep the discussion limited to that topic only.
Okay, thank you for the clarity. And then the other point of clarity is order and decorum. You're aware if situation's correct, Jeff, is that an appropriate point of clarity of order and decorum? For
I don't think it's appropriate this time.
Not here at this time. Okay, thank you. The issue I am not simply whether the Parks Board has the authority to hire a Parks Director. I believe by statute you clearly do. The issue is whether it's exercising its authority prudently, transparently, and in fulfillment of your fiduciary duties to the taxpayers. For example, on the position for director, and I'll be happy to share these notes with you. What specific operational needs justify the position? These are the type of questions that anyone is going to ask you when you present a budget to them. So you want to go in prepared, and you want to be able to also maintain integrity afterward. Because you're always going to be sent to modify your budget. You want to be able to come back with integrity. Has the board adopted a written job description with measurable duties and performance expectations? What is the total annual cost, including salaries, payroll, taxes to the county, retirement contributions, health insurance, paid leave, workers' compensation, all those benefits? Is there an employment contract with severance or other long-term obligations? And will the position be funded? And what effect will it be on other priorities, not just within the park board, but also within the county? So if you're asking for those funds, it's gonna have to come from somewhere else.
For sure. Yeah, no, I appreciate the questions you're asking here. They are all quite relevant. You know, these are all absolutely things that we would do before we were to hire a Parks Director. To answer your question very directly, do we have all of those job descriptions formalized in every way right now? No, we're working on this. We're making progress.
Right.
But to the degree that we intend to follow through on all of those elements, and a number of the things that you asked about here have sort of already been addressed to the degree that we're interested in contracting that position for the first number of years, so as to not put such a burden, such as retirement and all of these things that you're listing out here, benefits. So yeah, your notes are well taken. I think that we are on the same page about that.
May I continue?
Oh, certainly.
And metrics are always important. How will you measure the performance metrics of that position? And in summary, I believe before committing taxpayers to long-term financial obligation, public deserves a complete financial transparency, a clear business justification, and an objective that measures up to accountability. If I may, Frank? Sure.
Sure.
I agree with that. I, just speaking for myself, I agree with you. I suspect most of the board, if not all the board, agrees with you. I think at this point, it's just a dollar on a budget. To actually get to that point where we would be hiring anyone, there's going to be a lot more steps that go through that. We are not at all ready to hire a director at this meeting today, or even approve a director at this meeting today. But moving forward, if the county budget allows for that and we're encouraged to do that, we have to have something in there now. So this is, for lack of a better term, a placeholder in case we get to that point where we can do it. And if we get to that point, I agree, there's going to be a lot more that goes into it and job description and just a lot that will go into it that we don't have now, but we have to submit a budget. So we're a little ahead of the game where we would normally be, but I don't want anybody to think that we are hiring an executive director today.
Thank you for clarity.
Thank you. Thanks. And thank you for your comments.
Any other thoughts, questions, concerns? Do we want to make any adjustments to any of the line items that we have outlined so far? Do we want to submit as presented and let the commissioners and council do their work on it?
I have a question. Already, this budget then, because we are appointed on board by the commissioners, all this goes to the commissioners for them to review. No,
No.
Council.
just the council
Yeah.
with the budget.
My inclination is that this is too much. My inclination is it would be cut anyway. And so, I think from a starting standpoint, I'm comfortable as a starting standpoint. I don't think it ends up being this. I think, we all probably have gone through the budgeting process. If you're a business owner, and you're a business owner, and Ben, you are too, where it's kind of pie in the sky to begin with, just in case, then it gets whittled down, and you look at things and you're strategic. So to me, this is kind of a pie in the sky at this point, but I'm comfortable knowing that this is the first of just many steps, making this the first proposal.
And I'll tell you from the county council perspective, it's been 10 years there. The first question was going to be with funding. Because somewhere between the commissioners and council, if we want to put tax in there, there are the two bodies there that are involved.
And just to state the obvious all the way aloud, for us to sustain this type of budget for years going here, we would need a tax levy if it wasn't grant funded. We would need more money than we currently have. We know that. But it's a matter of trying to put the pieces in place for us to be able to continue to move forward. So.
I'll make a motion to approve this as the budget submitted to get the process started.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of submitting this as our initial budget request, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. All right. Very good. All right, Jason Taylor, owner's rep, Madison, construction updates.
Good afternoon, Jason Taylor, Madison Michael. So some of the construction updates, I believe in your packet, you will have a little bit of information. The eastern part is, we'll call it near substantial completion. The outstanding item is the final grading and seeding of the park itself, as well as the pond, the bioretention swale. We've been in close coordination with Ken, the county surveyor, his consultant, on some changes there. The reason for the change is because we've encountered a natural spring, we think. So the pond is actually retaining water, approximately 12 to, we'll call it 12 inches a foot. And so what's happening is that we can either just dewater that and pay extra money for that to be dewatered, or then fill back up. But in order to be able to complete the pond as originally designed, we would need to dewater it, let it dry, place the soil mix in for the plantings, and then be able to complete that pond. Because time is of the essence with regards to the funding source, in coordination with Avenue, we worked with them to find an alternative, and that was to leave the pond as is. We, Burson Michael, looked at the design itself, worked with Banning, who is the county surveyor's consultant who does the reviews of the drainage and stormwater management. And they were in agreement. They coordinated with Ken in his office. They're in agreement with this being an amendment instead of going through the drainage board. This could be an improvement to the original design, because what's going to happen is, instead of it having the depth before it outlets, instead of it being 3 inches in depth, it will now be 12 to 15 inches in depth, depending on the placement of the pond, which will allow the water quality, so sediment, to occur. There isn't going to be a ton of sediment because there's not anything sheet flowing into this pond, like no outside storm drains, things of that nature, but it still does allow that natural erosion to still occur and water quality to occur. So it will improve that. And again, coordination with Ken and his team, their approval of that, we would need the board to approve this is a change of the original condition that we had presented. So that would be the first item that I would present to you as an action item from the board today that I would hope that you can move forward with. And then once that's approved, or not approved, we have to make a change. The avenue is still, they're working with MIST on the sunflower seed. I believe that's the correct, which, not the wildflowers. Wildflowers, my bad. I'm so sorry. I'm glad she was here to correct me.
Pat looks at it.
All right. Yeah. And so Avenue, in coordination with MIST, would just use the seed mixture with their local farmer that is going to do the plantings of that. And then there is an additional change. It's an improvement to the original design. The ramp down to White River, it's experiencing some erosion along the edge of the concrete ramp itself. And so the proposal is to add some revetment riprap, large rocks at grade of the concrete ramp to help prevent that erosion from exacerbating and being worse. So that would be an additional change I can get the exact number. I apologize, I don't have it memorized, but let me see if I can pull it up before the end of the meeting and present that to you as well. That would just be out of the contingency amount of that 5% of the budget, and it's in the tune of an order of magnitude of $5,000. I believe it's actually around 3,300, but don't quote me on that. So that the eastern part is progressing well. And then the western part, the Perkinsville part, that is one that is started the week of July 27th. They mobilized out on site, the contractor did, they have staked it. They are starting construction on the bioretention swale at that site this week, and estimated completion for the pond, we'll call it, is going to be approximately 2 weeks. For that to be complete, they are also doing the excavation of the entry road drive and the parking area, that oval shaped parking area. And if you remember, the improvements for that is pretty limited on the footprint. It's expanding the existing footprint from just a circular gravel road or parking lot to be more of an oval and larger. But then besides that area, the only improvements, we're not touching the existing boat ramp. The only improvement would be the bioretention swale and the handrail that is up on the old ADA access for the boats, which DNR said is not utilized. They do not want to keep that handrail open. They want us to close that off. So as such, we're replacing a couple segments of that handrail. So those are the status of it today.
So I'm trying to figure out if we need a motion on each item.
Well, what I'll also, so that's construction update. What I would ask is, let me give you another idea. Hearing that the eastern part is from the board priority, there has been discussions with Avenue just to get some additional pricing to be able to see if there's a way to shift funds from the Perkinsville boat ramp. Keep the intent of the improvements from the immediate improvements as well as the long-term potential growth depending on what the park board wants to do in the future, and shift funds over to the eastern part to increase amenities. The items would be below the line. I think maybe that's a wording that you had chosen, Patty. Like the items like, okay, do you want to add more trails? Do you want to add a park shelter? Do you want to add wayfinding signage? Do you want to add park benches and trash receptacles? So to that point, we went ahead and asked Avenue to price out if we were to remove the asphalt from the Perkinsville, keep the same footprint, keep the same stone base, gravel entryway, as well as the parking area, and remove the asphalt. If you remove the asphalt, you also remove the pavement markings. You keep the concrete pad for the trash bin, trash dumpster, and the future public restrooms, temporary restrooms. But then you also, there's a stone shoulder adjacent to the entry roadway, 2 foot on either side. And so the asphalt alone is $98,000 of savings. The overall savings of, if you take the markings away as well as that stone shoulder, it would be approximately $110,000. And you could take that $110,000, you would then determine how you want to utilize that on the eastern part. And I provided a list of approximately 5 items that would be items you could use. Those are just ideas. Those are ones that I have actual pricing on. The pricing for, there's a 20 by 30 concrete pad shelter. It's a wooden shelter. And that would be $26,000. We have an actual quote on that. And that is installed. And then, but there's no amenities under it. There's no grill, there's no picnic tables, there's no trash receptacles, anything of that associated with that. And then, let me get my readers on here so I can tell you some. So then approximately $2,000 to $6,000 per item, depending on how aesthetically pleasing you want it to be. If you want it to just be a wooden picnic table, or do you want it to be something that's a little bit more sustainable, long-term maintenance? It's kind of that, it's the metal with that plastic coating on it, the rubber coating, something like that. And we could get all of those items quoted out at the direction of what the board want to do. There are, right now we have openings for the river overlooks in the plans, but there's not anything elaborate planned for those. It is currently an opening, and we would have it such that it is currently clear to be able for someone to walk up to it, but there's no boulders, there's no sitting area for that, there's no signage. E&D has said they would donate the boulders for one of the overlooks. If you wanted to be able to do that on the other overlook, then that would be the $7,500 to be able to add the necessary boulders, as well as a pad and potentially a bench as well. And we can have that listed out on per item basis. Then we do have lighting. Those are solar lights. We have vetted those. We coordinated the location of those, and one would be near the entrance of the parking area. One would be near the entrance of the drive, and then one would be over towards the restroom area. And I can send a concept plan of that if that is an area you guys would like to proceed with. And then there's the walking trails, and just as a crushed limestone, the way that it works with the pricing of that, it was tough for E&D and Avenue to pull just a per linear foot price, because if they go out and do 100 foot of it, they still have to mow houses to the site. So they tried to use a general number to give $43 a linear foot to give a crushed limestone 10-foot wide trail based on the cross section of it would be 2 inches of crushed limestone with 4 inches of number 53s underneath that for more stabilization. Now, if you, the board, decide we want 2,000 feet, maybe that I can have them dial it in on what that price would be. This is more of a budgetary standpoint of trying to give you an idea. So to ask for action items, let's say an action item that I would request approval on is the pond change to be more of a wet pond. Then another one would be whether or not the board wants to remove the asphalt and the crushed stone shoulders and pavement markings from the Perkinsville boat ramp and shift those funds over to the eastern park. And then if you do so, a process for us to move forward, knowing that time is important on the funding having to be allocated and spent.
then I would suggest we take this one at a time.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Ken, I mean, I assume you agree with what Jason said with the bond?
I think if you don't do it this way, you won't get it. If we don't, I don't do it today, or we talk, then it won't happen, and then you got nothing. So, again, it's the right thing to do. We're just not going through all the steps, we'll just approve it. It's the right thing to do for this, to make this part move, to get in the right direction, to a short window, that have everything put in by the end of September, for the ARPA money. So if you don't, you won't have it. So yes, it's perfect. I think it's easy, on the right path with that, going down that. So I would recommend you guys look at that on that.
Thank you.
Very good.
I'll make a motion that we approve
The fire retention pond redesign.
Yeah.
To a wet pond. I'll second that.
Motion second on that. All those in favor of the redesign of our bio retention facility here, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. All right, great, thank you.
Okay.
And then separately, sort of the
the.
idea of reallocating some funding here, how formal, like, are we tying $110,000 to this explicitly, or is this a little bit more theoretical, or what do you?
I mean, I could get you the exact dollar amount, if the board.
I don't think we need, I'm just asking for clarification's sake.
I
We're
would-
talking about that rough amount of money.
For order of magnitude, that would be the number that we would get. What I would say is that regardless if it's 50,000 or 150,000, that any use of those funds on the eastern part there would be tied to the board of what items you prioritize as amenities you want to add to the other part. So if it ends up being 110,000, then it's up to the board to choose what those items are. Just due to the time constraints, I would ask that the board, we have a process to do that so that it cannot have to wait until September meeting.
That makes perfect sense to me.
What is our agreement with the owner in terms of what were they expecting in terms of improvements? Would this still meet those expectations?
Yeah, their expectations were that there would be, we sent the plan to them originally, but in the end, they also understand that the construction could potentially change due to just unforeseen conditions or situations such as this. The intent is really going to be more in that MOU agreement of what the county is to maintain. Any improvements across the board that isn't there today, the county has agreed they would maintain. And it's still an improvement on their existing park, which IDNR is supportive of.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to reallocate the funds from the IDNR Urbansville Access Site to the eastern anchor park.
Just to pause with that motion, do we want any kind of process for how we're gonna sort of make those choices? That would be separate from this motion of action, right? We're gonna just talk
I'm just talking
about
about
the plan,
reallocating
and then we can discuss how we want to. Okay, so motion on the table.
Second.
Okay, motion in a second to reallocate about $100,000 from the paving element of the Urbansville location to the eastern park for additional amenity. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Okay,
I'll make a motion to use contingency funds to repair or make some additional corrections to the ramp edge with the crack. I don't know how else to say it.
but the idea being that we're
The
comfortable
idea
dipping
is
into the contingency for
fund-
up to $5,000 to help remedy that.
I'll second that.
All those in favor of that adjustment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain, okay. All right, that's great. Any other comments, thoughts?
The only thing I would to continue on that process,
Yeah.
and I don't need to stay up here if you don't need me to. I can answer questions if you have them.
We may have one, I'm not sure, but yes, thank you. We Yeah, I mean, obviously, we can coordinate the email, but we cannot all be in the same room making the same decisions, having the same dialogue without it being a public meeting. So, do you have recommendations for us, Jeff? I mean, how many, two of us can be in a room together? So we could nominate two people or one person, or what would be most appropriate? Or can we do emails that have to host a public meeting and do a special meeting? We could do that. I guess I'm just trying to list out all the options and understand what our choices are.
I think we'll just have some discussion about what park amenities we want today. I would say, I mean, and just being out at the site, I would recommend that, and just in talking with our commissioners about their wishes for the parks, they were the ones that kind of laid the footing to kind of start this foundation and get this process moving. Their utmost concern is obviously maintenance and safety, and I would second that, obviously. But I mean, we want the park to be enjoyable, and I would say, and please correct me, Olivia, if I'm speaking out of turn, but I think a shelter where people can sit under and maybe take a reprieve from rain or shade would be warranted. I will say that the Madison County Community Foundation also has $25,000 in funds left over from the Bicentennial Legacy Fund for this park. They, 3 years ago in their planning process, they wanted a legacy project, and this park was spoke of then, and that would cover the cost of the shelter. And I would just recommend that we look at that. I would say lighting and a gate probably are high on the commissioner's list, and then walking paths. In adding all this up, in addition to the $25,000 that the community foundations is willing to transfer over today, they're just, it's available for us today, and transferring it to this project. I mean, we could honestly do, with the exception of not knowing what the costs of the paths are, staying within our confines of our 100,000 transfer from the other part and our $25,000 from the community foundation, we could likely do most of it. I mean, I was doing the math. Like, I think we could do all of these things and have a pretty awesome park with future amenities, if that's ever available to us to do. So, the playground would be nice.
As you were talking, I just thought, I didn't clarify on the crushed limestone walking paths. That's all internal. That is not the paths that would be frontage road or anything of that nature. I wanted to make sure I clarified that is like, let's say that it would be around the pond, along surrounding the perimeter of the site, something of that nature. It's not anything to do with the front half of the park itself. It's all the back half.
So it wouldn't even necessarily be visible from 8th Street.
Unless you guys tell me otherwise, you'd want it that way, but that, based on the previous conversations, it would all be behind the tree line on the back half riverside of the park.
So you have to walk through the entrance and go to the back part to actually get on the walking paths.
Correct.
Then I think, well, first of all, I just want to say, I'm trying not to sneeze up here, but if I got a funny look on my face, it's not because of anything anybody said. And hopefully I don't sneeze. But I think this is an important enough thing to take public time, to hear what people want. So that would be my suggestion.
Just before we do that, does any of the board members have anything like this thoughts on
Yeah,
what
anybody
they'd
else
like
have
to
any?
see?
I would ask what type of shelter we're talking about, what would be constructed out of?
It would definitely be a wood construction at that cost, yeah, with a concrete pad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually priced out something more elaborate as well. And when I say elaborate, it was 30 by 40 concrete pad, and it was a metal structure. And that was $115,000, which can absolutely present that to you. felt that from the budget standpoint, we needed to have something more cost effective in the conversations that I previously had with Nancy and Ben. So that's why we, went and got another quote that was more of a park feel here of, it was a wooden shelter.
A wooden shelter is good to go with the dogs. Because we had several wooden shelters, shady side, along the outside, and people like to start with a fire. And so they're not there anymore. We have none. I don't know if that's still a idea or not, but I was thinking more along the line of steel posts of some type. Yeah, with some type of steel framing around it.
That's more in line with the $115,000 shelter, but it is a little bit larger of a footprint as well on the pad, so that it's not exactly apples to apples.
Why a concrete pad, not just crushed stone?
Absolutely could. It's just from the standpoint of having that level pad is beneficial, as well as this is a floodway, so having something a little bit more clean and easier for maintenance. And then from the standpoint of the foundations, it would be into the pad itself versus standalone foundations.
Thank you.
Any thoughts, Patty, on some of these below the line items that you have preference for?
Well, I believe the below the line term is one from the discussions here.
I mean, I like it. I'm using it on purpose. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it does. I kind of been wondering, Jason, tell me, if you're cutting scope at Perkinsville, what actually are you doing at Perkinsville? I heard you talk about the handrail having to be redone, but if you're not gonna do the paving and whatever else, what will Perkinsville end up with?
So the same footprint that was previously shown. Yeah, the only thing that is changing on that previous scope work is the removal of the 4 inches of asphalt and the stone shoulders. Because if you think about, the stone shoulders are there because the asphalt is slightly higher, and then the stone would be that leveling course in case.
So the parking lot that exists is the parking lot that,
It will be expanded upon. The original parking lot diameter is going to be expanded 2+ times the size.
okay, because when you're saying the cutting scope there, I feel like,
Yeah.
what's left?
The same,
Yeah, good question. That's kind of where I was getting at too,
so the same number of parking spaces that were proposed previously, and let me get you that number, will still be there with this scope change. The only thing is they won't be marked as parking spaces. Instead, it'll be just on the drivers to.
To list the things we would still be doing there, we basically be improving the entryway, expanding what we'll call a gravel parking space.
That's
Increasing
what
the
it is.
in the handrail and the concrete pad for portable restrooms and
Right.
something that sort of stuff. And then the bioretention swell too, correct me if I'm wrong, but that would sort of line us up to, if there was other funding, we would be able to just put paving, I mean, not just for that, but we would already have this runoff and floodway elements taken care of by doing what we're doing. Is
Yeah.
that accurate?
That is accurate.
Oh, yeah. This is not the trucks, just for the kind of
I mean, that's fine.
they do concrete pad with wooden structures.
Yeah.
Do we have any public thoughts on this? What you'd like to see or not see?
Somebody does not want to.
Got Ken and Alan coming up.
Yeah, this is stuff that we talked when we met with Ben and Jason in the meeting a month or 6 weeks ago. great ideas, because you have parks with nothing today. There's nothing there. So the amenities are huge. You want to make it a park, have amenities. I think you're on the right track, Jason. I'm not sure about the walking trails. If you heard what he said, it floods. You're gonna wash out. You're washing out this money. It's just, at the end of the day, you're wasting money. There's nothing left there at that point. And the floods we've been having this last spring and the spring before, we'll have no trails, guys. You'll have mud, and people will be complaining about they're walking in mud. So take that equation out. If you just did, if you look at doing it at both parks, now I'm going to throw you a curveball here. If you have amenities at both parks, if you did a shelter at both at $26,000, that's $52,000. If you did the benches, trash receptacles, 2 to 6 is a high number. I would question that. That's really a high.
The type of benches though that they're bolted in concrete pad, they run about.
Okay, so let's assume that you might cut down here, but so I had it at 3,000, is what you said. If you had 6 on each place, that's 18,000 on each, that's $36,000. You're still just over, what are we at, 52 and 36, 88,000. You still have, in what, 12 plus the 25, you have 37,000. You could still do the gate, still do the lights, and the lights were required. If you remember when the sheriff spoke, the lights were something that he said should have on there. So the lights are definitely, that's not negotiable for that. I would challenge you to get with the city and ask them if they put the lighting out there, because as owners, I have spotlights on my properties, on my businesses. I pay the city a fee for it monthly. They change the bulb, they take care of all the maintenance and everything. I do nothing. It goes out, I call down, power light. Eventually, most of the time they come out right away. Sometimes they're a little bit slower and it's not in top demand, and they'll change it out. But I pay a monthly fee for that. It might be something they might be willing to donate to you. It might save you a little bit of money there.
Yeah, we thought about that. Yeah, we don't have utilities on this property, so.
Well, they have solar too, I'm just saying.
Yeah, and
If they
that's
can offer
what-
solar,
I think that's what-
yes, if they have solar, they can offer you and put them up there. That might save you a little bit of money. But I think you could get the same amenities in both park and still be in $125,000 range. And I think when people walk or there and they drive in, now it's a park.
Yeah.
Now it's a park. And then you think later date, you put more amenities, swing sets, stuff that's gonna appeal to, you got families coming, kids, grills.
Yep.
The picnic area. If you're gonna make it a park, these are great steps for it. So kudos to you, Jay.
So you mentioned 2 shelters then? I don't know if there's enough room at
Perkinsville will probably be tighter, but if we could look at it and we may need to coordinate with DNR,
Yeah, that's.
but I mean, it's something that's,
I don't know if we can get.
It might be a change of order, but I would ask now. I mean, if you don't ask, you don't, if nothing is nothing.
Right.
So I would ask now, if they come back and say no in the change of order, that's, okay.
and another option is maybe you do, with that, maybe you do 2 shelters at the eastern park, if you find that that's a need because of the size of the park or placement, if you want to, that's just, there's lots of flexibility in that.
Yeah, good thoughts.
Okay, thank you.
Name Dow and Kilburn with 5614 West 8th Street Road, Anderson, Indiana. My concern is when the river floods, it's different than at Lafayette Trace. Lafayette Trace has a wooden shelter, but it's not in the current. At this location, everything north of the trees, the current goes across the property. And when there's trees and things floating down the river, if you put a wooden shelter up north of the woods, it can block that and then destroy your shelter. Because in the past, I've seen we had things out there and the trees actually destroyed what we had there. So anything north of the tree line is in the floodplain. That's correct. And it would almost have to be like Mr. Smith said, with great big stone or steel posts, because anything wood wouldn't handle the flow of the river. That's my thought.
Thank you. Yeah, I was gonna, historically on that site, I'd be interested in knowing, is it an annual flood that comes through there?
Yes.
So it wouldn't behoove us to put a shelter house in that area.
Yeah, I mean, we'll look at all these locations, yeah, this is important. Thank you.
Anyone else?
So, I guess we need to, should we just appoint a person as we have been doing to continue dialogue with Jason? I mean, it feels as if we're on the same page in terms of, we think we can get all of this in. It's just a matter of exactly where and exactly how many practical and exactly whatever. I'd be happy to, but it's not, yeah, I mean, it's not rocket science here. We just need to be having the dialogue and continuing on. Okay. Yeah. Do we need formal vote on this?
Yeah, the formal vote, part of the motion could be to request that the person making those decisions, as soon as practical, advise the entire board of what is yeah.
I make a motion based on how Jeff just said.
All those in favor of this motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Okay. All right, very good. Moving along here. Next on the agenda here, we have, yeah, we still have a few things. We have an invoice from Burgess and Nyepel for Jason's work, as we do monthly here, so we need to recommend that for payment.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor of recommending for payment this invoice from Burgess and Nyepel, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Thank you. Okay. Carrie Ann, clerk, please.
Rich, honest digital. I will be fast because I know we want to get to the naming conversation and that's super important. So, really quick highlights. We've been out and about at some events in July, in June, and it has been a really good experience. So I thought that you guys would appreciate hearing that. Good interactions with community members coming up to the table, asking questions, being excited, being, pleasantly surprised that it's happening and just really eager to hear more. So I think being at these events has been registered to win so far, so we will keep promoting that. I did bring posters. If any of you have locations that you would like to drop a poster, feel free to grab one. There's also stickers that we're passing out at the events. If you guys want to grab one, it has a QR code to the website. So that's kind of the outreach highlight. And then really kind of moving into the naming piece. One thing I do want to share is Nancy had visited a park where she saw a sign that was just a beautiful sign that says White Riverway.
58 miles of White River away.
Yeah, and so we were able to kind of source that to an organization called Discover White River. So what that is that it's essentially a campaign to promote community engagement with the White River ways. So we have been in contact with that organization. They're interested in having a conversation with us about how we can partner. And then we would be able to utilize that sign at these park sites to show that, continued relationship with a bigger group that's reaching Central Indiana. So those are kind of.
What county is that in?
This is in Hamilton County at Trace Park.
They also, these signs are also in Marion County. So So we will, I'll keep you guys updated as we get that meeting actually set, and Nancy's gonna sit in on that meeting with me. Yeah, so I think those are the highlights, and then of course, getting, the other piece of marketing is we're working with, the sign designer, which is the Madison County Council of Governments. So, we were originally going to work with Indie Sign Works, but, Olivia, shared with us that we could utilize this group, and it's fantastic. So we're able to keep it all local, fabricate the sign locally, so we're really happy about that. We've seen one iteration of a design as of yesterday, working through some adjustments to see an additional design tomorrow, and then we'll be able to share that with you all. So I think that's it. If you want to move into the other room.
I got newsletter today. Do we know how many are on that?
We are a little over 100 now, so we're growing.
Keep pushing
Slow but
that.
mighty.
Yeah, keep pushing it. So thank you, Karen.
Yep.
Very good.
Yep.
Well, moving us right into the park naming
Yes.
subcommittee updates.
Yeah, so our subcommittee met, oh my gosh, about 3 weeks ago. A great representation, Olivia Pratt from the commissioners, Jody Moore from county council, and then some community people, groups, 2 people from White River Watchers, Alan and Brett Childs. And we had great discussion. Steve Jackson, our county historian, kind of led the way with a lot of historical information about the area and the settlers of that area. And we kind of came up with 2 names that we want to kind of hash out today a little bit. Our first and favorite name that we came up with was Founders Park. It was a favorite by the committee. The name kind of acknowledges all of the founding fathers of that land. So whether it be representation of the Delaware Indians, the Nanticoke Indians, and their village, and the John Johnson, who owned the property at one time, the Jacksons that owned the property one time. It just kind of represents all of those entities. And it also lends itself for additional naming opportunities within the park. So if we do cut in at later time, some pathway, walking paths, you know, we could name it the Nanticoke Walking Path. Or, the Johnson Overlook. Yeah, so, or the Bicentennial Shelter House. I mean, so it just kind of represents all of us, and it's our first park, so it's our founding park. And we just thought that name kind of, it's easy to say, it's easy to spell. The second choice we had, for obvious reasons, was the Nanticoke Park. It's a little, I have to say this, I'm not kidding, 25 times before it rolls off your tongue. It takes a while. Nanticoke Park, the name represents the Nanticoke Indian tribe that once lived in the area where the park is located. They settled on a village called Nancytown, which, you know, just saying, it's very appropriate. However, the committee noted that its pronunciation may be difficult and the spelling. We want to make sure that obviously in an emergent situation, our EMS and our emergency personnel, if needed to get to the park, could find the park and identify its location and its name easily. So Nanticoke kind of is a little bit more of a difficult rolling off your tongue kind of way. But those are the 2 names that we are putting forth for recommendation for approval today.
Very good.
Any comment from?
So
those
yeah,
of
we'd
you
love
that
to
were
hear
part of it?
comment from everybody. Yeah, come on up.
I just want to make sure you're aware that there is a Founders Park in Pownell. If it matters at all, I didn't know if that would cause any confusion.
Okay, thank you. Alan or Olivia, you got anything right?
Yeah,
I'm partial to Nanticoke.
Nanticoke.
How's this spelled?
Nanticoke. Nanticoke.
The Nanticoke tribe is still very active. Steve shared with us, so we could even
Invite them.
invite them to have, you know, a a role in the ribbon cutting?
I think either would be appropriate names for the park.
Board members with thoughts on either one, references, ideas?
I think I will go with the White River Watchers. They've been the most involved. They have the most time and energy involved in maintaining the beauty of the river. They've worked tirelessly to maintain the river, and it's all volunteer. And if they like the makeup, I do too.
Was there, speaking to those of you that were in the discussion, was it, everybody felt pretty good either way, that they slight lean towards Founders, or was it a heavy lean towards one direction?
I feel like everybody liked either, kind of an explanation of it being the inaugural park, so a founding park, founders, and you could name a trail, Nanticoke or John, like exactly what you said, kind of it encompasses everybody.
Al, anything to add?
I was partial to John Johnson Park.
There could be a Johnson overlook at Founders Park.
Yeah, I do kind of like, and I get what you're saying, Penny. I completely agree with that. The White River Watchers have been just invaluable in this community. I do like the thought of the founders, and then you honor the founders within the park.
Yeah.
I do like that too. A little concerned that there is a founders park, right? That's but I don't know if that's a big deal necessarily. Those are my thoughts.
Well, in reading a little bit about the Nanticoke, are they part of the Lenape, or are they separate from the Lenape?
I didn't bring
They are
that,
part.
I didn't bring all that history with me today.
Yes, I'm almost positive they are part of it. Steve Jackson has like a lot of notes.
A lot of
that he can
information.
share.
On everything.
There was a lot of handouts on history, which would be nice because if we do have a kiosk at some point, we can certainly just highlight all the history about that area and all that. So
I mean, and yeah, you always run the risk of doing this. This is not a scientific vote, but I'd be interested just by raising hands. Who likes founders? And who likes the other?
Have we? Have we spoken to anybody from that?
Yeah, that's why I would want to
Corporation to do before we use a name?
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, we could do that.
we could do that, except we have to fabricate a
We're just
sign.
really.
So we really need a name by today to fabricate a sign.
I think
Nanticoke is very distinctive, such a park. You can also name overlooks and trails within the park, however you wish.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think I'm kind of leaning towards that.
Yeah.
I like it simply because you already have mounds that has significant Native American, history to it. So
Well, and the other way, Cotiwi Park and some of the,
Exactly.
it's all part of our history. So
I was gonna throw this out as an idea, not on the naming.
Sure,
But on the dollars and the schedule constraints. The $25,000 foundation funds, our budget as part of the funding is 20,000, I believe the number is. And so you could say, instead of the 25,000 being used towards amenities, instead maybe put that towards the sign. And then that allowance that we have in our current budget for the park be shifted to other things so that you could have a little more time. Now, the construction of that sign may not, depending on the naming and the timing of that, may not perfectly align with the ribbon cutting. That is just something to think about.
It's a creative idea. Might have sounded shallow a little bit, but I think I would be a little bit nervous committing to the Nanticoke name without speaking with anybody.
Agreed. I guess, and Patty, you may want to make the motion since you brought it up, but I guess my motion would be contingent on their approval, blessing.
I'm gonna determine that approval.
Well, I mean, and I ask this with complete ignorance, but is there a leader of
Yes,
that you would
yes,
contact?
there is, they have a government, I just looked it up.
We just need to reach
I mean,
out to them
my
like
hope would
today.
be that they would say, oh, that's a very nice honor, it's a park, but I would just, you know, if somebody said, we're gonna name it Banner Park, and nobody said anything to me, and I read it in the paper, I think, wait a second, nobody's asked about that, so.
I don't see it necessarily a problem from a legal standpoint, but it comes from you, politically, you try to run for whatever reason.
That's why I asked about,
Disrespect.
They're in Pennsylvania.
that's why I asked, because the Lenape, Chief Anderson, they were part of that Delaware movement, and I understand the, Nanticoke are also from Delaware. And Anderson has had a great relationship with the Lenape tribe. Because they would come into town for the fest that we used to have in Anderson, now in Alexandria. Yeah.
You want to make a motion?
I make a motion that
Do you want to put on trying to get their blessing, assuming it's, they, get their blessing?
Pending her, consent.
I'll second.
Okay, yeah, we have a motion and a second for Nanticoke Park, that's our name, pending their approval, which I'm only hesitating on that process. I'm for this, I just want to be sure that we understand how we.
Well, yeah, I mean, one of us needs to reach out to us.
I mean, I'm happy to send that letter, I just want to be sure.
Yeah,
it's-
I am more than happy to do that when I get back to the office. And copy.
It may be something that we get approval on pretty fast.
Yeah.
It's just been, hard to think.
Yeah, it's the right thing.
It was Jackson, that brought his name up.
Well, he brought me.
Because I've never heard
No,
of
Steve.
the tribe affiliated with Anderson, Madison.
He has some really great notes, so we
Yeah.
can make it, formatted to
Excellent.
tell the story.
Sure. Yeah, I think we would definitely want that as a part of
Mhm.
the kiosk.
Yeah, for sure.
So, okay, so yes, we have a motion and a second, pending the approval and sort of coordination with the tribe. So all in favor of that name for our park, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And I just want to thank everyone that's worked on this, so Nancy for leading this and all the public input, so thank you so much. Yeah, we'll keep saying this.
You're gonna have to say it a lot.
That's right.
It doesn't roll off your tongue very easily.
Katiwi doesn't either.
Yeah.
Everybody
Could
says
be, yeah.
Katiwi,
Yeah, Katiwi, Katiwi.
I mean, but this is, adding these words to our vocabulary is valuable, you know,
Yeah,
and
true,
having this discussion, and, you know, remembering our history is all part of this equation, so this is good. We have the name approval, we also have a line here about the update for the sign, but we sort of basically had that, you know, pending.
Oh, yeah, yeah, we just wanted to make it, and Carrie and I, we alluded to that, covered that, yeah, that Madison County talks about council governments and stuff. And that's what we say, so
Very good.
it's very easy.
All right, so anybody have any other thoughts or comments? I didn't put a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
All right, I hear motions and seconds, so all those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for coming.
Okay, that's it, Facebook. I'm on the run. I'm on a tight schedule. See you later. Bye.
Here, hold on. I'm on. So shh. Okay, so real quick. If you guys don't know the general area that they were talking about during the video, I wanted to pull some stuff up real quick before I get off the pod or the live stream. Let me show you this. So the part of the area where they were talking about in this meeting starts at this little one here, which is the Anderson wastewater treatment. And it's going in over here. Okay. The concern is what's getting pushed towards it. And so I was able to pull up some maps to show that the Anderson wastewater treatment plant is currently in violation. Okay. When I see that, it concerns me, and then I can't figure out what it is that we're violating because they don't have it here. Okay. But they've been significantly non-compliant for all these years, and I just don't understand why it's not getting fixed. And we got a lot of numbers, just like Chesterfield. Chesterfield was putting out a large amount of E. coli into the White River just last week. I go over here to, it's not scrolling up. Oh, I'm on a different page now. I go over here to the CWA affluent charts. It does pop up and tell me which ones are violating. Okay, this is the CWA Clean Water Act chart, or just that's what the affluent chart means, CWA. And it shows all outfalls, but specifically 001 CSO, combined sewage outfall 1, combined sewage outfall 16, and combined sewage outfall 21. Okay, for Anderson or White River. And so then I pull up this over here just so you guys can see for anybody getting out on the water and trekking through some of this. Oh, let me zoom in. This is around the Blue Bridge and 8th Street Bridge. CSO, I think CSO 25 is down here. There's a sign that says CSO 25 is actually right here where Pittsford's Ditch and the White River meet. And then the interceptor they just put in is along the, what is that? East bank of the White River. And this right here is CSO 21. But my concern about this and why I go here is because they're wanting to put this water park here. And this is staying in violation. So I have problems with the water park here at Athletic Park. And then I have the issue over here with the water. Where is that? Anderson wastewater treatment plant, which is in here. And it's in violation, so we don't know if it's right here. We don't know what's pushing down here, but then it goes up into the new Anchor Park, East End Anchor Park over here. So you got to be really cautious when you get out here in this water. And then before I go, I want to pull up Chesterfield. Go over here to this tab, and I will be talking about this a little bit tonight too when I go live on the actual weekly podcast. Here we go. So we found this on accident this weekend, or over the weekend on Saturday. Something happened. Somebody didn't have the right permit and it hit the newspaper, and everybody had a bunch of questions for a non-disclosure notice of intent to comply. That's what it was, notice of intent to comply. But this over here is Chesterfield, and Chesterfield's water, let's see, right there, right here is the wastewater treatment plant on the White River. Okay. And if I switch over here real quick to show you what it looks like on the other topical map. Mound State Park's right here. So this is what's flowing into Mound State Park boat ramp. So if you're, playing in the water there or you're getting in the water, you need to know about this stuff. And then Chesterfield's right here. And their, let's see, wastewater treatment is right in here. Okay, on the river. So it flows downstream into Mound State Park. It starts diluting or getting, but there's still PFAS bubbles in the river, and I hate the way the river looks right now. So there's that. But back to this Chesterfield one. So we accidentally stumbled across this weekend because I wanted to see. It had been a year, almost a year anniversary since Aaron had gotten sick, and I wanted to see what was going on with the water. And so, of course, first inspection, it's all blue. And they got a lot of different chemicals and stuff they're what I call popping hot for. My cousin's texted me. She's gonna have surgery tomorrow, so I gotta get off here. But I want you guys to look at this. So these numbers here, I'll be going in talking about this a little more later too. But just in case you don't get to find my video, and you just happen to be watching this one, Chesterfield's got some really high numbers right now for some pretty serious stuff like E. coli, which is human waste, high levels of phosphorus, E. coli forming units, nitrogen, ammonia, and that's popping into the river. So, I'm a strong believer that the reason why the river is in the condition that it's in is because of whoever's pumping crap into it. So anyway, with that, I'm out. So see you later.
Heads up, signal closing, but the message keeps moving. Stay on swivel. Heads up. Hey. Thanks for watching. Heads up. Heads up. Signal closing, but the message keeps moving. Stay on swivel. We brought the facts, we brought the flame, cut through the noise and expose the game. Raw and direct, no fear in the room. Heads up, rising, better make some room. From breaking news to the stories untold, we speak it loud, we speak it bold. No backing down when the pressure gets hot. We gave you the truth, now connect every dot.